Hi, I'm Wyatt.
And I'm Grace.
And you're listening to our dad and your host of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Odyssey Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Moore, and I am really excited about today's guest. We've got Kim Lalande coming to us and joining us to talk about creating amazing customer experiences. Kim is the founder and CEO at KEY, a company that makes it easier for travelers to book vetted vacation homes, curated experiences, and in-home services all in one place. So, Kim, thank you so much for joining us and talking about a topic that I'm really passionate about.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. And so we were talking a little bit off camera and talking about how important we feel like the customer experience is. Obviously, in the hospitality game, I'm always talking to people, especially our audience and our listeners all own vacation homes and invest in vacation homes. And we have a tendency sometimes to sell the home itself when really what we're selling is the experience, right? And I really, that's why I'm excited to chat with you today, because I think that's what KEY helps us all, be able to curate those experiences and make it easier for us to be able to do that for our guests. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And can we like rewind a little bit though? And can you tell me your backstory of how you even got here? Like what got you into the hospitality game? Why are we sitting here? And this is what you've started to build out.
Sure. Well, at the end of the day, I'm the customer in how I came up with this idea. So prior to launching KEY, I ran business development, traveled for a large multi-billion-dollar firm, traveled every other week, staying in great hotels where you have the convenience of the hotel-like services, daily housekeeping, concierge for your local recommendations, in-room dining for your food needs. Well, the firm asked me to spend 2 months in San Francisco and offered to get a vacation rental home for me so I could bring along my 2 little children who were little at the time. And my experience was found a great home right in the heart of the city, but I was completely on my own as far as where to go, what to do, going to the grocery store. It was just not a relaxing experience at all. So that's what gave me the idea to launch KEY. So returned back to Austin and went and talked to a local property manager who we work with still today. This was 7 years ago, and said, "Hey, would you let us try out just handling all the hospitality services for your guests coming in for South by?" And she said, "Yep, great, here you go." And that's where it all began.
Awesome. So 7 years ago, a little bit before everything was as popular as it is today, right?
Exactly.
And so you teamed up with that property manager. How long did you just stay in one location, or did you expand really quickly, or did you really kind of test out the concept with the one property manager for a while?
Sure. So we tested out the concept with the one for about 3 months and then decided, okay, let's go to different destinations. So it was in Austin, obviously, where we're located and headquartered today. And so then we decided, let's go try it in a big city type destination, a more ski season type destination, and then very seasonal like a Hamptons, Nantucket. And so we launched it for a good 18 months in those markets, just gathered the data. Can we build something where we're able to deliver a consistent, repeatable experience for the customer at scale? And worked on the concept for 2 to 3 years, built the platform, worked on it's in our team's really hospitality and technology. So you've got your engineers and you've got your hospitality team, 2 very different backgrounds, but together that's what we built. And so there's a big opportunity in the market, and we're excited to make guest vacations a little bit easier and enjoyable.
Love it. And we were talking about even again before we hit play, I was saying, I love when I travel and we stay in vacation homes, and that's typically where we always stay. We don't really stay in hotels anymore, especially because we travel with our kids a lot of times, and it's just more convenient. But every time we go somewhere, we want the fridge stocked and we want to do certain things, and we have to go do that on our own. And so we've always said, man, I wish more people would do this, because it makes the customer experience that much better. And I always argue that customer experience and delivering that fairy tale, whether you're a really budget-minded property or you're ultra high end, this is not just for the ultra high end. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Sure. Well, one of the things I personally experienced and we found when we first launched KEY through our data is, your preferences don't change no matter how much money you have or which destination you're traveling to. It's really why you're going. So for, my case, got 4 kids and they still eat mac and cheese, regardless if you're in Aspen or New York or Austin. I still enjoy my glass of wine at night, regardless of where I am in the world. If I'm traveling with my girlfriends or doing a couples trip, it may be a little bit different. So for us, that was another pain point of I want one brand to work with where I don't have to re-educate you no matter where I touch down or what home I check into. And it's a repeatable experience, plus throw in local, something I wouldn't even know to ask for in there. So I can really experience the best of each destination. And so it's true. No one wants to spend their first hour, of landing in a great, starting their vacation, going to the grocery store. It's nice to have it all stocked, someone to call if you've got questions, etc. And so that's it's an important concept and experience.
What do you guys find are the most requested concierge services for people that when they're coming in? I'm assuming having fridges stocked, but I'm sure you guys track that as the most common requests.
Sure. So categorically, number one is food and drink. So every time you wake up in the morning, you're going to eat a few meals a day, and so for us, that's our number one selling category across all destinations. So that's pre-arrival groceries. That's also chef services, and we really expand upon our chefs in each market. So most people think of a chef to come in and cook a fancy 3-5 course meal. Sure, that's great if you're celebrating something special, but we also do chef prepared meals that can just be dropped off. So that way, when you get off the slopes or off the boat, it's there. You just heat and serve it to friends, family, etc. If it's in Austin, one of our big top sellers is cheese and charcuterie boards with the bubbly. When you show up with your girlfriends, etc., we've stocked a fridge full of beer, top to bottom. You get a lot of bachelor and bachelorette parties in Austin as a destination. So, but anyways, food and drinks is number one across all markets, and then behind that, it's really the in-home experiences. So baby equipment rentals, you don't want to have to haul everything, and you don't want to have to go to the store and buy it or figure out how to rent it. It's all there when you arrive. Wellness inside the home, so yoga sessions, exercise out by the pool, etc. So those are the main categories around the home, and then everyone will typically book 1 or 2 local experiences that are out and about in town. So we also offer that in the curation of what are the great things to do. Give me a list of choices, and I'm going to choose one and go experience it. And so everything on our site, that we're not a crowdsourced platform where all vendors can just come on and sign up. We have an entire team that works with our vendors on here's what the customer wants, and we know because we work with thousands of customers in each destination, and so we work with them to tailor their services to what we know our customers want, and then stay on top of it through the ratings from the guest, from the property managers, and also from our hospitality team. If we're always having to solve for a chef that's late, they're going to go down in our rankings. And but for the most part, our local vendors are awesome, and they love the feedback because we help build their businesses with a great customer base.
Yeah. So who is your customer base? Is it primarily, you mentioned earlier that you started building it with property managers. Do you primarily deal with property managers, or do you deal with homeowners directly?
So sorry, I've got the the sun coming in. So for us, we work with property managers and homeowners. So we want to find the best home. We also curate the homes as far as what we list on our platform, but we provide services to a wide array of homes. But we want to work with great property managers across top destinations where we don't have to, we work with great property managers who are doing all the property management, and then we're just providing the hospitality services for the guest, taking that off the property manager's plate. So today you have homeowners, you have property managers, they all have their list of recommendations, but from the guest experience, you're getting that list and having to call and book and put credit cards down with all these individual vendors. And every time you want to change something, you're having to do that. But with Key, it's all in one place. You just go in, order, we handle all the back and forth if there are cancellations or additions or questions. And if something goes wrong, let our team handle it. Don't spend a minute of your vacation time solving. So
Love it. So as a homeowner, and that's where when I've got properties at kind of different areas across the country, and we've always gone through our property managers for those services. They're probably going through companies like Key to help them pull that off, right? I mean, and so that's why I asked that, because as like a lot of our listeners and a lot of our group they're the actual property owners. So if we're sitting there thinking, okay, the logistics are like, okay, this sounds really great, all this stuff that Kim's talking about, and we've talked about, this really adds to the customer experience, makes it easier. People are willing to pay for that stuff. I don't know, for us, it's not a profit center. We just pass it on so that our guests have a great customer experience. But I know some people use it as a bit of a profit center as well. But if they don't, what if logistically as a homeowner, how do I decide and figure out how to, like, do I request it from property managers? What do you suggest homeowners do to pull that off?
So for us, it's if you're a homeowner and don't want to manage all the day-to-day bookings and the listings, et cetera, absolutely work with the property manager who takes all that off of your plate and share a little bit in the cost. But for us, with our property managers and homeowners, we share in the revenue with us. So let us make your life easier. You don't have to hire extra overhead to provide the hospitality piece. We have a team of 40, 50 working on all of your guests versus you having to manage that internally. And it's a better guest experience as far as its platform. It's one swipe of a card. You get all the intel on here's what my guests love. And it changes per house. If one home has a pool, we'll tailor our recommendations to the guest checking into that home. But with our property managers and homeowners, we share in the revenue in it as well. So it's a win-win for everyone.
You said something that really kind of piqued my attention when you said that you share that data that you're collecting with the homeowners of what they're doing in the home and why, so that as a homeowner, we can tailor different things to those guests and gives us a really good idea of what we can speak to in our marketing, things like that. Right. And so that's where the technology piece probably really comes in beneficial when you said, we're really a technology company. Right. And so that's where that really helps us in our marketing, right? But if we're going to go to the extra effort of curating this amazing guest experience and we deliver an amazing guest experience, we want to be able to articulate what people are liking, and having that feedback is critical as a marketer.
Yes, definitely. And and where this industry is going, I mean, it's young compared to hotels and the hotels, and hotels is massive,
right?
6 times the size of vacation rentals. And with more and more hotels getting into the space, at the end of the day, we're all competing, the two industries competing for the same traveler. And so with the hotels getting into the space and providing hotel-like services, you have this fragmented, massive other part of the market with property managers, where in order for them to compete and have extra things to market to their home, where when a guest, it's apples to apples, you get concierge services here and concierge services here. And here's what our guests love. It helps drive your reviews. So I think it's a critical component. The other day, I told a friend of mine, I said, it would be weird if you checked into a 4 or 5 star hotel and didn't have daily housekeeping. Like you come into your room at 4, you're like, well, the housekeepers didn't come today. I believe the vacation rental industry is gonna become that, where you come to expect the services for these rentals that are beautiful, and you're spending, hundreds, thousands of dollars on your vacation, and it's going to be a must have versus a nice to have today.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely where it's going to. I think right now in our space, like I always say, we're in the time of the professional host, right? The people who are just taking it like, hey, I've got grandma's cabin, we're going to throw it up on Airbnb. Those properties are not performing very well, right? But there's a huge gap in the bottom and the top of all of these markets. And what's really interesting, and where I think this is a huge opportunity, especially right now, is it's not a must-have yet. And so you can get a huge step ahead of the competition, because it's still, even though it's smaller than the hotel industry, hotels are just starting to try to figure out how to get into this game because it's not as scalable, right? And so they know there's a great opportunity, but they're not in it all the way. So you're not competing with the institutions that really understand this game. You're competing with a multi-billion-dollar market that most people are not operating this way. And so I feel like personally, this is a huge opportunity to set yourself apart in a market that has a lot of room to go get some money and get your unfair share of business.
Definitely, yes. Because if you look at hotels today, they have all of their staffing and operations in one
Yeah.
building, where this is very distributed all over
Yeah.
town. So
Yeah.
it's how do you take that and build it to where you can deliver the same level of service? You may have, fewer options the further you get outside of town, but there's still options. And it's just knowing, okay, this address here, the service is available, et cetera. So it's just providing that distributed hospitality services to the vacation rental market, which is distributed all over.
Yeah. How do you guys decide what markets you're going to go into? Obviously, you're running, obviously there's got to be revenue being spent there, and a number of properties. Some of the smaller markets don't make as much sense just because there's economies of scale. Like you're talking about with hotels, you have to
Yep.
have economies of scale in the markets you choose. So, how do you guys choose the markets that you're going into?
Actually, for us, it starts with the traveler on where the best vacation destinations for them. And we it's one of the things we nailed 3 years ago was our market launch model. I mean, we would go out and just test it, right? How do we
Yeah.
get this down to where we can open more markets for, lower cost entry costs to get in? So for us today, we need a minimum of 20 homes
Yeah.
in a destination, and we're launching new markets every month. So for us, sure, there's data where we have our top, here are our next top 50, but then it really starts with our partners. So when we get a massive homeowners in one market, or a property manager that says, hey, I'm ready to, we just opened Sedona last week because a property manager came in and said, ready to go, let's do this.
Yeah.
And takes us 2 weeks to get it up and going. And typically, property managers already have their favorite vendors. We're just onboarding them on our platform, adding on other services based on data of lookalike markets that,
Right.
beach,
Yeah.
beach town here, beach town there, mountain, et cetera, to expand the catalog and provide more options. And then it's open and off to the races. So we're fairly efficient on that
Love
end.
it.
So get 20 if you're a homeowner, get 20 of your friends and
Yeah.
call us, we'll open it. And if you're a property manager and have that, then we're there.
Yeah. Awesome. No, it's in most of the markets, right? It's not 20 homes is not I mean, it's not hard to get, but still you have to get the concept across that people are thinking, okay,
Yep.
this is a big value add. And that's really what I want to get through, to a lot of people today that are listening to us and spending their time with us this is a huge advantage that you can put into place on your properties to really maximize your portfolios. It's not about having the nicest house in the nicest area. You have to have all of that, but we're not selling houses, right? We're not on
Right.
Zillow selling houses. We are selling experiences, and this adds to that customer experience and provides them this great platform to get those in-home services, to understand what some of the local attractions and those local experiences are. And so I get really excited about it because I see as an investor, and we've got a mastermind group that we coach across the country with almost 1,700 investors. I can see very, very, very clearly the difference in the amount of money these properties make that have these types of services in there.
Yes, definitely. Well, it really allows the guest to enjoy the home where you're not
Yes.
having to go out and about and go to the restaurants and coffee. It's like, enjoy the home. You've spent money on this home, and
Yeah.
it allows you to really activate and turn on that home experience for your guest.
Do you guys, when you're selling this to
Mhm.
homeowners or property managers, have you guys run any numbers of saying, okay, the average home that has these types of services makes X amount more? Or do you know that percentage wise, or have you ever run those numbers?
Well, it drives reviews, number one. So
Right.
I don't have the and it varies per market. So
Sure. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
varies per
Because
market.
some
But
markets are a lot more expensive. Yeah.
yes, but in general for us, if you take the average, and keep in mind we've got your Hamptons and Nantucket, and then we've got homes that are, 300, 500 a night in other markets. So if you take the average of all of those, in general, guests are spending about $1,100 per trip on the services. So this has nothing to do with with the vacation rental booking, but on the services is what they're spending per trip. And then it's driving your reviews and your repeats, really, where
Right.
that was an amazing experience, and then they look for it when they come back to to your house. So,
Right.
and then the other interesting part of our model is the property management space is very fragmented. Most property managers, aside, I mean, you've got your very large ones, right? But most of them are in maybe one, maybe two markets, and travelers, they don't go to the same market 4 times a year typically. And so being able to drive great check-ins and traffic on, okay, key serviced homes, here are all them. Right, today we're in 45 markets and growing. And so being able to drive that, traffic and experience across this very fragmented space helps. We send our property managers bookings daily. So
All the time. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, even on your website, you have, I mean, we can go there and see all these properties that offer these types of
Yes.
services. Very, very, nice curated homes, like you said, that, they have to pass certain, cross some T's and dot some I's before they make that list. And so, but it's great for a homeowner and an investor that has these types of properties to be able to have multiple vendors and partners promoting their properties, which is great.
Yes.
It's another benefit to that. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we just launched that. We had started the company initially on the services and just launched the listing site because we would have customers say, can you recommend other key service homes? And we're calling our property managers and they're like, just go to my site. And then so we tested this in 2021, had great success with it. So we then pulled it out last year, built the platform. And then today we're onboarding 100 plus homes a month. Which will turn to 100 plus a week. And so we're an expanding destination. So it's exciting to be back in growth mode and out of COVID.
Yeah. Good. Getting back to growing, huh?
Real times, yes.
So Kim, can you take us through, put yourself in the consumer's shoes, and a consumer that's going to go to a key home, what would that experience look like different than just going on Airbnb or booking with a management company and going to a regular vacation home?
Sure. So for one, in the booking process, in the browsing and booking process, our site, we have vetted all the homes and we know where customers are happy. And we work with the property managers. Okay, these fit our clientele, these don't. So it saves hours of time and you can trust what you're getting and booking, one. And then once you book the home, whether it's on our site or one of our property managers' homes that don't have to be listed on our site, you get the full key experience. So the minute you book that home, we start showing you all the possibilities. We email through emails on here's what other guests have booked staying in that home, here's what people love. And then the more you tell us, the more we hone into, okay, here's the perfect itinerary for your stay. And you're on the platform, you can book and browse and build your personalized itinerary there, or simply click the button on our platform and talk to the hospitality team and say, here's what I want, do it for me, have it in my box and inbox in a few hours. And so our team will do all of that for you. And then once you arrive, your home is fully stocked with the groceries, the wine, the beer, whatever it is you need on that front. And you've got, typically people are booking, 1 or 2 activities. They want some flexibility in their stay. They don't want to be overscheduled on a trip. And then typically in homes that are larger homes, it's group staying, and there's always one person that's in charge of making everyone happy. And so we make that person shine a lot. But they, so then from there you can, and everyone, the guests can work with Key individually. They're, you all may be doing a catamaran charter together, but then some may be off to golf the next day and others to the spa, et cetera. So basically it's just taking that planning off your plate, and the town's curated, the homes are curated, everything's there. And then when you go through Key again to book your next vacation, you don't have to start from scratch. It's your grocery. We've got your grocery list. We know your preferences. So we start to build your personal profile. So you don't have to re-educate us every time you touch down in one of our markets.
Love it. So as a customer, like we used to travel a lot, and when you said some of the high end brands, like some of the high end hotel brands, that's what they do, right? When we would show up and we would go to the Montage in Laguna, and every time we showed up in the Montage in Laguna, they knew exactly what we wanted in our property in our little villa or the hotel room that we wanted and that we liked based on what we did before. So you guys actually offer that through Key as well. That's awesome. And so
exactly,
first time though, like you mentioned, you even put together, because I'm a big, I teach a lot about really selecting your target audience and developing, really great experiences, that are, like you said, the not the custom itineraries, like, okay, here's an itinerary that we know this target audience loves, and you have a few that you can choose from. Here's how we've done it before. So they don't have to start from scratch if they don't want to. They might have a bunch of ideas that, oh, that sounds really fun, right? I didn't think about that. And then the other thing that is awesome, which you mentioned, which we don't do this at our properties. And you mentioned that they actually they can call and have a point of contact. They can call a concierge and talk to a concierge about their experience if they need anything or anything while they're at the property. So as a customer, that's a huge perk to be able to do, right?
Yes, definitely. And we have our hospitality team we hire from those top hotels. They've all been trained through great brands. And so you get that level of welcome and welcome back. I mean, do you ever go to a restaurant or a hotel and they're like, have you stayed with us before? And it's like, are you not looking at your
right? Yeah.
Here all the time.
Right. Exactly. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, okay, we'll go to the Marriott, not to pick on Marriott, but we'll go to the Marriott. Whenever I check in, I stay at Marriott's a lot, and they don't say, hi, Mr. Moore, or whatever else. I go to the Montage. They know my kids' names, right?
Exactly.
Like, they have it written down when I get there, and we're nobodies, but they make you feel like somebody, and that's the whole key, right?
Yes, definitely.
Which is the key experience, right? No pun intended.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I love it. Awesome. Kim, well, listen, is there, like, when I could talk about this stuff all day long, and I would love to like really dive more into some of the logistics of you pulling it off. But I know that with our listeners, where should we point them? Like, if I'm a property owner, I'm like, I really want to dive into this. Should they talk to their property manager? Should they go, like, where should we point them? And to even see if you guys are in the markets that they're in even.
Yep. So key.co, you can go there. There's a simple list your home. You can partner with and just fill out whatever information. Call our team. We're always here. So you can call me. I love talking about it though. So you're going to get a long phone call, but but yeah, just key.co, everything's on there. You can navigate depending on if you're interested in the services, if you're interested in listing them, interested in all of it and what markets. And even if we're not in a market, if you don't see it on the site, we're launching markets every month, a few markets every month. And so we will prioritize, and we may have partners that are close, and it'll bump up on, okay, what's next? And we look at that monthly. So
love it. And I would also suggest, like I always, if you've never experienced staying in a vacation home that offered these types of services, go check out your website, key.co, and you can look at a bunch of different properties on there that you say, okay, maybe I want to do this, but I'm not quite sold yet. Go do it and stay in a property that offers this, and you will be sold. I promise you. It's definitely, it's a great customer experience, and it will put you in a position to maximize your asset and really operate toward the top of your market. And so
definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's one of probably the top thing that we could do. Is anything we can do to add to that customer experience is going to put us to the top of these markets. And it's not always having the nicest home in the nicest area, right? Because even if you have the nicest home in the nicest area today, somebody's going to build a better one tomorrow. So what can you do to really add to that customer experience? I know we have one of our members in our group that has a fairly average home for their market. And it's in a California market in Yucca Valley, and pretty average home overall, and competes at the very top of that market. And this property probably was only about $500,000-$600,000 acquisition. It's set up really nice, but it's all about the customer experience. She really caters to women that are going for like a really relaxing yoga, spiritual type of experience. So she knows exactly her target audience, but she has the private chefs. She has the fridges stocked. She has itineraries for them to do all these things that you're talking about. She does. And she competes with $3-4 million homes in the desert. And she has a higher gross revenue than all of them because of what she does. And it's not the home, it's the experience she's providing.
Yep. It's critical. I mean, we're all travelers as well, as well as operators, and the experience is what matters. And and great experiences are stories to tell, and word spreads. And yes. And even too, I should mention on our site. So we have listings. We work with a number of property managers where the homeowners don't want it out on the public site. So anytime someone comes in to request a home, we have other alternatives that we always offer up that aren't on the site. So don't be shy. And there's a form on there. Don't see what you're looking for. Let us know, and we'll run it through our system and help find the perfect place. So don't be shy in reaching out. There's a team. That was my vision in building this, is the technology to get the guest experience right, but where there's always that personal touch there, if and when you need it. So that's the core of what we do.
Awesome, Kim. Well, I really, really appreciate you joining us today. And all of you listening, we know how valuable your time is, and we appreciate you spending it with us as well. And so we'll wrap up. I'm going to make sure in the show notes you can find Kim and her entire team at key.co. And so just remember, that's not .com, it's key.co, but we'll put that in the show notes. And then I always ask two things of you every episode. If you got any value out of this, take 30 seconds and write us a review. And if you don't have 30 seconds, click the like button. And just because those types of things do help us spread this word and share this show with other people that could get value out of it. And then the final thing is that I always challenge you to do is pick one thing that you can do today to build that life that you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website?
Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodacy.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.